Hey guys, I'm here to get into perhaps the best one album under the 70s, perhaps the best one I've heard since American football. That is Television. They're one of those one album wonders where I just feel so happy the moment I listen to this album. It feels very enlightening in a very sweet, beautiful way. This is the best version of punk I've ever heard in my life. I've tried to explain this to people. I'm like, I've never heard anything like this. It literally is like how it feels when you listen to the Talking Heads. Like when it is when you watch a film like Pulp Fiction for the first time. It's like, what is this paranoid feeling I'm feeling? It's very anxious and jumpy, but it's like kind of just original, and that's why it's kind of laying out that's timeless. It's just original as could be. This sound. It's original Planet of Happy without being delusional. It's just literally just a bunch of guys hanging out in New York City and just doing all sorts of things here. Reinventing the way of playing the guitar, completely upgrading Jimi Hendrix. Like literally, totally is such a genius. And I could listen to this album forever. Like, you know. It's a one album wonder, but it's 8 songs. They're all perfect, literally. Just like how Modern Dances by Pure Ubu. It's a similar experience. This is perfect. Yeah, I mean, it literally feels like it's an upgrade from like stuff like the Kinks, the garage rock, you could say, the 60s. This is like an upgrade to something just even more of a Nirvana on the guitar sound. Also, just more, again, just in the moment entirely, like feeling almost like a bum in a city, but in the best way, but elevating to genius status in their own kind of way. That's that inspiration they lay on me. And I believe they actually are the band, along with Bob Dylan, who got me who've been the most healthiest in my relationship with nature. I find Television and Bob Dylan particularly. And this is just one of those bands because the song "See No Evil" it sounds a little paranoid and a little funky. It's taking inspiration from a single they had before, which is also a masterpiece, "Little Johnny Jewel." I mean, I could listen to this stuff endlessly, and it just feels like I'm literally living in a film, which is always what I dream to do. So the rest of my life, so, this is an album that kind of captures, I think, the true spirit of punk, which is to do it your way in a friendly sense, which is the truest essence of like a lot of the best punk. But then it's just the world was too ugly to handle. Maybe it's something that sweet it felt. So the punk movement saw. So it kind of moved to something crazier. And the Clash was kind of onto this idea too, which that's a band I'm really coming back to. I love the Clash. But I think that Television is just upgrading literally. It feels like Jimi Hendrix's best stuff too, and a Led Zeppelin best stuff perhaps too. Just something new entirely, completely different from like the Van Halen stuff. I'm not a fan of. I don't like Van Halen. Just too showy. I think this is literally a subtle take on all that, and it's a lot darker because it literally just feels like cinematic. I prefer the cinematic take on it rather than the showy take on it. It's just when I realize it's just too much flash and Friction is just a perfect song. I mean, everything about this feels very anxious because everything feels like it has a purpose. I think this album feels very purposeful the entire way through. Like it's always building up in a certain kind of way, just like the song Elevation. I mean, the bass just grooves so well in these songs that it's literally about the coolest album of all time. I mean, there's just nothing quite like this, man. It feels quite perfect in its own way entirely. So, it's just, I mean, that's all I can say about Television. They're quite a perfect band. I recommend this album marking you to everyone. It is genius. Quite literally.